Today, I'm going to explain about an Irish short drama film called Detainment. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins with two kids named John Venables and Robert Thompson. We see them running around and robbing candies and toys from various stores in the mall. They eat their candy and play with the toys they stole from stores. They are having a good time when they notice a child named James in front of a butcher shop. The scene moves to the police station. The two officers begin interrogating John about a little boy, James. They ask John the reason for approaching James. Meanwhile, the other two cops are questioning Robert for the same reason. John and Robert are both with their parents at the police station. John is terrified because he knows what the cops are trying to find out. As a result, a police officer first diverts John's attention to distinguishing between truth and lie. First and foremost, John denies killing the young boy, James. John denies being in the Boodle Strand at the time of the incident. John's mother, sitting beside him, tries to persuade him to tell the truth. She claims that no one will harm him even if he has done something wrong. Robert, on the other hand, denies taking the baby with him. The officer informs him of the surveillance footage, which shows the same jacket as Robert. Robert responds that many jackets on the market match his coat. He denies everything the police say about the incident. He claims to have seen the boy but never touched him. The cop informs John that his friend, Robert, is in the next police station and tells a different story. John then blames Robert, claiming that Robert took him to the places he was not aware. John's mother becomes enraged and yells at him. She persuades John to tell the truth. The police advise her to remain calm and handle the situation gently. John bursts into tears and tells her mother that he did not kill the boy. He denies it and claims that he knows nothing about it for a while. On the other hand, Robert blames John, claiming that John left the baby near the church. The plot returns to the point where John and Robert take the small boy, which an older woman notices. The older woman inquires about the boy. They respond by saying that the small boy was discovered at the bottom of the hill. The older woman notices a bruise on the small boy's forehead and inquires about it. John responds that he was already hurt when they picked him up. The elderly lady then instructs them to take the young person to the Walton Lane police station. The scene returns to the police station, where the interrogation continues. The police ask Robert if he would leave his brother like he left James. Robert then responds, stating that he did it because he had no relationship with James. The cops also claim they discovered bloodstains on Robert's jacket and shoes, but he denies the blame. He claims that the blood could be his own. In the other scene, John's parents persuade him that they will love him no matter what he does. Following this, John begins to cry in his mother's arms, admitting that he killed James. John then begins to reveal the truth about the incident gradually. He says that the bruise on the boy's head results from Robert pushing the boy and causing the boy to fall. John also claims that they escaped after it but returned and took the baby in the middle of the bridge. He accuses Robert of opening the paint tin and throwing it in the boy's face. John then expresses that he will not continue because the situation is dire. After hearing this, the officer suggests that he rest and try harder to tell the truth. John then tells the officer that they took James to the railway and began throwing bricks at him. According to John, it was Robert's idea. On the other hand, Robert accuses John of throwing the bricks at James. Robert wonders if he will be held accountable because he has bloodstains on his clothes and shoes. But the police ignore his questions and demand the whole truth. Robert's mother appears to be disappointed and asks him why he threw the bricks at the boy. Robert then claims to have escaped, leaving the boy in the care of John. He also says that he returned and tried to stop John. Robert's mother then inquires whether the boy was awake or asleep, following it to determine if the boy was dead or alive. On the contrary, John blames Robert, claiming that throwing the bricks was entirely Robert's plan. He also says that Robert asked him to throw the brick at the boy, but he purposefully missed the mark because he didn't want to hurt the child. According to John, the brick that John missed was picked up by Robert and thrown in the baby's face. He admits to hitting the bricks on the baby's arms to appear to miss the target. John claims to pass the bricks through the boy's side. He also claims that he threw 5 or 6 bricks, but Robert threw 10, causing the baby to bleed. In reverse, the police ask Robert to tell the whole truth about the incident, to which he responds that he only saw that much. The policeman is aware that Robert knows more of the subsequent incident and instructs him to tell the truth. But Robert responds by arguing that he was present during the incident, not the policeman. The police officer then claims that Robert knows everything based on the boy's injuries. Robert then perplexed the cops by asking why he would take flowers to the boy if he were responsible for it. The cops ignore Robert's question again and keep insisting on telling the truth. Robert then accuses John of hitting the boy with a metal object with holes. On the other hand, John blames Robert for knocking the boy off with a bar. John then explains that he did not want to hurt the boy by doing something difficult, so he only did minor things. The officer then inquires about the reason for pulling the boy. John says nothing and tells his father to take him home. After a few moments, John says that Robert was probably having fun, but he did not want to hurt the baby. Oppositely, Robert claims that he did not throw the bricks at the boy. The cop informs Robert that John has blamed him for various offenses. Robert's mother continues to cry out of disappointment and walks out, stating that she will no longer be able to hear. The parents appear to be dissatisfied with their children's behavior. After a few moments, the officer asks John if any of them removed the baby's clothes. John admits to removing the boy's shoes. He then informs that Robert was the one to remove the boy's pants and underwear. The officer inquires about the reason for this, but John sobs, claiming that he is unaware of the situation. John informs his father that the officers are questioning him harshly. On the other hand, the policeman asks Robert if they began playing with the boy after removing his clothes. Robert denies this, claiming that he is not a pervert. Robert also states that he will disregard everything the cop says because the cops have always ignored Robert's questions. Following this, the officer inquires about the batteries discovered at the crime scene, but neither John nor Robert responds. After all these conversations, the police officers separately take John and Robert back to the route they used that day. Both John and Robert are reminded of the day they were walking with the little boy during this. John notices their picture on the wall and wonders why his picture is in black and white and Robert's in color. Finally, the story tells us that on November 24, 1993, both John and Robert were found guilty of kidnapping and murdering James when they were 10 years old, making them the 20th century's youngest convicted murderers. Don't forget to subscribe the channel and like the video. Thanks for watching.